never take me alive. I'm getting high with my 4-5. Cops only sucker trying to die, even as a youngster. Causing ruckus on the back of the bus. I was a fool all through high school, kicking up dust. But now I'm labeled as a troublemaker. Who can you blame? Smoking weed up, we take away the pain. So I'm hopeless, rolling down the freeway, swerving. Don't worry, I'm about to crash upon the curb, cause my business bloody, baby. If they try to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do but be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with them phonies in the club. Got my mind on danger, never been a stranger to homicide. My city's full of gangbangers and drive-by. Why do we die at an early age? He was so young, but still a victim of the 12 gauge. My memories of a corpse, mind full of sick thoughts, and I ain't going back to court. So fuck what you thought. I'm drinking Hennessy, running from my enemies. When I let it be 23, there's so much pain.
Everybody, I had to reboot. My microphone wasn't working, so I had to be like, go out, come back in. But we're here, we're together, and we're gonna have a show. How is everybody? It's Thursday. It's Thursday. One more day, and we have the weekend. And then it goes by so fast. It goes by so freaking fast. Hey, Alan girl. Hey, Grandma. They're good to see you, love. I hope you're feeling well. Hey, Miss Amy. Good to see you. And everyone that's on YouTube, hello. And everyone that's on X, good to see you guys. Make sure you like, follow, and share, please. Daniel, hey, always good to see you. Like, follow, and share, please. That's how we keep the truth out there. That's how we stay connected. And that's how other people wake up and how other people see the truth and see the world for what it really is. But we have to sit together. We had a great show last night. Let's have a great show tonight. Let's welcome in our special guest. Here's the co-host, Gravel. Hey, good to see you, Gravel.
Hey, sorry I missed you guys last night, country, kids, practice, all that, teenagers.
Oh, I know, but you got family. Family comes first. You take care of what you've got to take care of. And we're all good with that, aren't we, people? This is your family here, and just the way it is. Just the way it is. Does everyone see everything pretty good? Good connection. It was so strange last night. It was such a good show. Heather had sent me a podcast to watch, and this guy broke down the shooting of Trump and how you just have to go back and watch it. It was really cool. I deep dived and did some research. It made me realize and open up to some things that the way, the positioning, he even did the measurements of the step, the height, the 90-degree angles, and all of that, that there had to be 3 shooters. There had to be one in the trees with the tree stand, and there had to be one, they had Crooks on the roof. There's no way Crooks could have shot him on the right ear. It would had to have been on the left temple in the direction of how he was pointed and his arm was up. And all of that. It goes into it. So there had to be someone that was on the water tower. And we actually showed the video, and I never caught it the first time around. And it was there. Something was there. But you can see it moving and everything. Of course, people say, well, you're crazy. But yes, it was very interesting. Anytime you find stuff like that, Heather, send it to me. I love that stuff. Trees. Yep. Doc did say trees, but he was talking about tree stands and stuff like that. But you guys have to go back and watch episode 71. It's got a bunch of goodies in it. Bunch of goodies. How was your day-to-day, Grapple?
Oh, fantastic. No complaints. Hey, I woke up standing, or I woke up out of bed and I was able to stand. So, any day's a good day that you can do that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Kids are healthy, family's healthy, so, I can't complain. I mean, the world's on fire outside of that, but,
very true. Very true. It is on fire. It is on fire. Man, what a day. What a day. I haven't really got to see, I saw some of this stuff. But what got me was Angelina Corti, the Olympic boxer, female Olympic boxer. I saw this first thing this morning, and I'm so proud of her. I am so proud of her, and I know she's trained so hard for that moment. And you know a little bit more about the guy who she was her opponent, and he failed the gender test. But let's watch the video, and then we'll talk about it.
Solid straight right hand from Khalees there.
That right hook, it was pretty tough. She knew. I mean, there's a volleyball player who has actually got brain damage and will never play again from where transgender popped the ball, hit her so hard. I mean, this is dangerous. Women play women's sports because at the end of the day, we may be like independent, but that doesn't mean that our bodies are built as a man. That doesn't mean we are a man, or at least for myself. I may be an independent woman and I can do things, but there are just some things a woman cannot do that a man can do. And there are many things that a man cannot do that a woman can do. But when it comes to sports, I remember when I was in sports growing up in high school, the women's sports was intense. Men's sports were more intense. They had them doing a lot more long, harder things, lifting, stuff like that. But of course, that was a long time ago. I'm 51 now. But the only time they mixed men and women's is when we did relay races. That was the only time, and that was running and handing a baton off to each other. But to do something like this in a physical aspect of punching, I mean, wasn't there a boxer not too long ago that this happened to, and he beat the shit out of the female?
That may have been the UFC fight. And then and then there was a UFC fight that occurred. Don't quote me here, but there was a UFC fight that occurred, and he broke her nose or something else. And then he, I guess, advanced on the ticket, and he went up against another woman who beat the living hell out of him. Right. But yeah, there's no place, especially in a contact sport like that. Now, if you're a woman, here's what I'll say. If you're a woman and you are a woman, you recognize you're a woman, and you want to compete in a man's sport and try out, meet the qualification standards and the physical standards and all that, by all means, go for it. There's a girl, she's a girl, or a teenage girl, but she's actually pretty good, to be honest. She hangs with the boys, but there's no trans thing involved. I was talking to her parents. She's on the tournament circuit with my son. They're not on the same team, but I was talking to her parents, and she's like, she doesn't like softball. She likes baseball.
But see, that's a different kind of sport. But when you're doing hand-to-hand combat sport, that gets into a dangerous area there, especially boxing.
Right. Because
the same, qualifications for a female, aren't they different in men's boxing? You know what I'm saying? Qualifications, like you have a woman have to be so much weight, height, um, stuff like that. And same for is men. Are you seriously going to put those qualifications of a female up against a male? I mean, come on, you're going to go to bat with someone who looks like a big bear but has the muscle and the strength and endurance. God made a man a certain way and he made a woman a certain way. That's a reason.
Well, you're right. You're spot on. I mean, I'm not a boxer. I don't know much about boxing other than I watch a fight here and there.
Right.
But yeah, you got to meet. You're a featherweight, you're a lightweight, you're a middleweight, you're a heavyweight. And sometimes that comes down to the ounce and whatnot. But like in this case, so this dude, as I explained on your live a little bit earlier, this guy, he's an XY chromosome, so he is a man, but he's, I guess, allegedly, he has like some female parts. I don't know if it's the upper or the lower because they didn't explain it.
Was he born with them? Was he born with them?
Like a hermaphrodite, which is
Okay.
very rare. And that's I had to be careful on your live, but I feel okay. You're
Yeah,
okay
you
with
can
saying that
speak
here.
freely here.
Yeah, so something like that. But I guess he is transitioning. And what I was saying on your live was that he actually tried to compete in the I think it was Garage. I can't remember who it was in your live that said the Women's World Boxing Federation or court or
That was
competition,
Gideon.
something like that, WWBC.
That was
He,
Gideon.
in 2023, he was excluded because his testosterone levels were too high. And I don't know what they did this time, what the IOC, the International Olympics Committee, did. But this goes to your point, country. It's like, like in a boxing match, size, weight, all that comes into play. But have we really gotten ourselves to the point where we're having to do a testosterone test to figure out if the person has low enough testosterone levels to get in a boxing ring with women? I mean, this is it's ridiculous. I'll yield back on that one.
I mean, what is the purpose of it? I would like to know. You'll never be, I'm just going to say it. You're never going to be a woman. You can get the boobs put on. You can go through the transition and of the other surgeries, but that's just all in manipulating your body into being something that you never will be. A woman is born inside with what God wanted them to be created with. The emotions, the feelings, the roller coaster rides. You can take all the testosterone shots you want, but I promise you can ask the man. You can ask a man who has been with a woman, lived with a woman, married to a woman, that you will never come close to that because women are beautiful. Women are beautiful inside and out, but we feel a lot different. I'm not saying men don't feel, but women are more nurturing, loving, and we carry a child in our body for 9 months. I carried 3 and lost 1. So that's something you will never, ever, ever, ever understand. I don't care if they someday come up to where they can put one in a man's body. I don't believe God will allow that to ever come to fruition. I just don't believe that will happen. I just don't. And if it did happen, I don't believe it would be viable.
Yeah, and country, I don't know that I totally. That's what the IOC said about the whole Herm thing. That's what
Probably
they said.
never.
I don't know if that's actually true because I don't trust any of them. But I mean, to Maga's point, like, yeah, pro football, pro whoever, they're tested for whether they're getting doped up or not, with roids and, all that other stuff. I mean, but we've seriously gotten to the point where we're testing guys who want to compete against women for their testosterone level. That's really what we've descended to. And the other thing I wanted to say was that, okay, so domestic violence, which
Hmm.
has never occurred in my life or anything like that. So we just actually witnessed on the, not just like a local, like blue city in America or whatever, we witnessed this on a world stage where a man went in and basically beat the hell out of a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that sit with people?
Don't
You
sit
know?
well with me. I'm a survivor. I'm not a victim any longer. I'm a survivor of that.
Yes.
And how do and you know, we do not know her background history. She may never have dealt with anything like that. But what if she had? And you get that hit from a man, a woman remembers that hit, a punch in the face, because they are coming at you full force. And she knew. She knew. She's like, I ain't going here. 'Cause his endurance is going to be a lot different. I mean, women, we can always say all day long we do what a man can do, but we cannot. There are some things you just cannot do. You can try and try, but there are just some things you cannot. There are some women that do have a heavy punch. They've worked out, they've done that for that specific area. Like, I guess if they train in a man's sport, but I really don't even know if you do that anymore. If they just say one day, I'm a man or I'm a woman, I want to be a woman boxer, and I'm going to just go with women. I say that you pretty much are a pussy because you couldn't withstand fighting in a ring with a real man because you knew he would wipe the floor with your ass. So you thought, what's better? I'll just go beat up on a woman. That's what it looks like to me. That's honestly what it looks like to me.
And especially when it comes to sports, I always ask this question whenever I'm talking to like the lunatic left. I'm not talking about trans, like the normal, because there are some normal trans people out there. But
Yeah.
whenever you talk to the lunatic left, I'm like, why is it always men wanting to walk into women's restroom and men wanting to compete in women's sports? Why is it not happening the other way around? And so the example I gave you about that girl that's on the circuit, she is the only girl. She is the one girl that I know of, and she's not trans, that wants to compete against the boys. She is the only one we know of, you know. And I think she has a crush on my son. She actually beamed him a few weeks ago because he found out he had a girlfriend.
Oh, that didn't sit well, did it? Oh, young to be young again. Oh my goodness. So
Right.
enjoy it.
Teenagers. I don't think
Yeah.
she did it on purpose, but I don't think she's very happy with him though either.
Probably not if she's crushing and he's got a girlfriend and he's not paying her no mind. Now she's like, let's see about this.
Yeah, I didn't mean to detract. Just a little comedy for the show.
Oh, you're great. You're great. Gays Against Groomers are on our side about the big time. They're a great follower. We'll check them out. Yeah, a lot of people have come out about this and said that this is wrong. And actually, there is a fund set up for the money she would have um had won. I'm trying to find this other thing that I posted as well. See if I can find it. No, it's not that one. Well, I don't know what is up with my internet. It just doesn't come through very well. Oh, here we go. Jake Paul offers Angeline Corlini, an Italian Olympic boxer, a lucrative offer. Jake Paul said that Angelina, although your dreams couldn't come true today because of the crazy agendas that are playing in the world at the moment, I would love to offer you to fight on a MVP undercard to show the world your talents on a fair platform and not against a man. Internet help this find her. Who is Jake Paul? Is he a boxer or something?
He's the guy. Yes, he's the guy. well, I can't remember if it's Jake Paul or Luke Paul. He's the guy that is, I think it's Jake Paul. He's set up for this match against Tyson, which has been delayed until November.
Okay. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's there's brothers. It's like I think it's Jake Paul and Luke Paul. I think that's Jake Paul, the boxer that's got this fight set up with Mike Tyson.
Well, he's willing to let her play on the undercard on the MVP stage, fair, with someone, female, not a male, and just show her talents off, And I know it's probably not the same, but yet, if anything, it would be better because it would be like, I'm not having to go by your bullshit, the Olympics. I'm not having to go by the retort bullshit, push your narrative, And she'd be doing it because I could tell it broke her. It really did. It broke her by not being able to do that. I was so disheartened because of it.
Yeah, so Maga just gave the background. So that's Jake Paul. He's the one fighting Tyson. I said
Okay.
It was Logan Paul. I stand
Logan,
corrected.
that's who I was getting them mixed up with. But yeah, he come out with that just a little bit ago. The brother Logan Paul is a wrestler. Okay. And they both have a podcast that's very, very popular. Well, we would like for that to find Logan and Jake Paul. Let them know. I'm sure their podcast is so big it eventually will get to them. But yeah, I don't know if she would be willing to do it. I don't know if she would want to do it. Who knows? But actually, I think there's a fund started too in the amount that she would have won. The only thing is the gold medal. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
That she wouldn't have. Pretty much. Well, Trump had something to say today in his little mount. So when are they going to release details of the prisoner swap with Russia? How many people do we get versus them? Are we also paying them cash? Are they giving us cash? Please withdraw the question because I'm sure the answer is no. We are releasing murderers, killers, or thugs. Just curious because we never make good deals at anything, but especially hostage swaps. Our negotiators are always an embarrassment to us. I got back many hostages and gave the opposing country nothing and never any cash. To do so is bad precedent for the future. That's the way it should be, or the situation will get worse and worse. He's right. They are exonerating the United States of America. Extorting, I'm sorry. They're calling the trade complex. That's so nobody can figure out how bad it is. What's your thoughts on the hostage?
Here's my thought. What's happening here? I'm glad Waylon finally got out because Griner was only there for about 8 or 9 months. She's the WNBA player. She was there for less than a year, somewhere around there. I think it was around 9 months. Waylon had been there since 2018. He's a former Marine. They accused him of being a spy. He was out of the Marine Corps when he was there. But here's the problem with these exchanges is that whether it's Russia, whether it's whoever, they're giving them a green light, and Trump has some valid questions. It's kind of like the hostage trade that occurred with Iran a year ago or so, where we, released $6 billion back to those funds had been frozen essentially. We released it back. It was like a 5 for 5 or a 5 for 6, something like that. But what we're doing is we're greenlighting our adversaries to go ahead and kidnap American citizens because now they're like, well, they're gonna pay us off, and that's why for the longest time we had a no negotiating with terrorists or hostage takers or whatever you want to call it. That is why the U.S. policy on this was that no negotiations. And that was Bush, Obama, Clinton, Bush Sr., Reagan, all of it. But not until Biden got into office did we start these payoffs, and that's very dangerous. So if you're traveling abroad, I would be very careful, because now what's in their mind is that if we kidnap you and we take you, even if we treat you okay, we'll just get paid off by the U.S.
And then at a later date, we'll use you for a bargaining chip for maybe something we want from the U.S. outside of cash. Because if you're giving them cash, you like with that arms dealer, what
Yeah.
that they traded.
Yeah, well, they do have one name. They do have one name from this exchange that occurred between last night and today, whenever it was.
Right.
This guy was he was like an operational chief of, it was called the KGB. Now it's called the FSB.
Okay.
They released another guy. They don't have his name. He actually assassinated somebody in Germany, and the Germans had him. I don't know. I don't have the whole story because they're not giving a lot of names right now. So we're trading people. We're trading a journalist and some dude, Whalen, who was over in Russia. I don't know what he was doing there, but we're from what I gather, they said espionage, but that came from the Russians, so we don't actually know.
Right.
That's what we're trading for, and that goes to the gist of Trump's question, country.
Well, I'm sure it's all going to come out. Some had said that it was put in the New York Post. MAGA wants to know about Mark Fogel. He's still there, and he says he's pissed about that. So the backstory for Mark is an American teacher, goes to Russia to teach, has medical marijuana, a tiny amount, and he's been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just crazy.
It's kind of like we would trade for, like, let's say somebody who goes and an American citizen who goes,
Okay.
maybe what we in the U.S. consider a misdemeanor or possibly no crime, goes to Russia or wherever, and we exchange, I don't know how to say it, but like a Ted Bundy or a Jeffrey Dahmer in return. I mean,
That's insane. But see, nothing. I put nothing past this administration. Nothing. Everything you think in a good way, they're going to do different in the bad way. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the way everything is heading. And man, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I really don't. Well, JD Vance, he visited the border today. What he's been nominated as vice president, running mate with Trump, and he's already went to the border. Kamala.
well,
Where
and,
did she go?
and for the record, country, he's gone before as a senator.
Yeah,
Before
he's
the
went.
thing ever came up.
Right. He's went before. I'm trying to load this one video. But Kamala, she tries to act innocent that wasn't the Cesar. She wasn't the border Cesar. But there's video evidence proving different that she was. She was appointed to do that. And she hasn't. She just hasn't. Let's see what he had to say.
Former President's comments yesterday to the National Association of Black Journalists, where he said that Vice President Harris is, quote, all of a sudden black. As a father of 3 biracial children, did those comments give you pause at all?
They don't give me pause at all. Look, all he said is that Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She goes to Georgia 2 days ago. She was raised in Canada. She puts on a fake Southern accent. She is everything to everybody, and she pretends to be somebody different depending on which audience she's in front of. I think it's totally reasonable for the president to call that out, and that's all he did. I mean, look, she's running as a tough-on-crime prosecutor, even though she implemented open border policies. She's saying that she wants to support the police, yet she wanted to defund the police just 3 years ago. It's totally reasonable to call out the fact that she pretends to be somebody different depending on the audience she's talking to.
The former president.
And that's true. She is a total mess. This is getting out of hand. I mean, this whole situation is getting out of hand with her. Um, and we've known that they're for the illegals more than they are Americans. That's proven. Look what they give to them constantly, continuously. But out of her own mouth with this interview, listen to what she has to
Must be
say.
addressed.
The bill also says, quote, every individual who is a resident of the United States is entitled to benefits for health care services under this act. Not every individual who's a citizen, but every individual who's a resident. So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
So she would be willing to give everything to illegals. They want them to vote because see, they can control them. I don't believe it ever happened to where they'll be legally able to vote because that would be violating our Constitution. What do you think?
Yeah. So no, they cannot vote. They cannot vote in a federal election. You have to be constitutionally. You have to be either naturalized or born here.
Right.
And they're trying to get all these ways around it and doing this and doing that, so on. And you have to be 18. So it just, I don't know what they're up to. And as Maggie said, she's a chameleon. She's just like in her Atlanta thing. What was it yesterday? Where she's down there and she's like, she's talking like with an accent and all that. And everybody's like, where did that accent come from? This is the one with Megan.
Oh, when she was, she was talking about
she had a weird concert and it was real bizarre. And it's like, what?
Yeah, that was
The whole thing. I mean, I reposted so many videos today of black people saying like, this is totally unprofessional. Some of them say, hey, I like Megan Thee Stallion, but this is this is politics here. You're running for president. What are you doing? Where are all these fake accents coming from? I mean, and it kind of goes, I knew Trump was going into the, yesterday when he made that thing in front of the, what is it called? The JABL or AJ, whatever it was called. Whatever it was called. I knew he was going into the fire pit. But
the one where they were at him. They went at him hard about talking about being black. And he said, well, she was Indian for the longest time. And we played the video to where she was actually cooking with someone and they were just going on and on about her Indian heritage and everything. And then she decided she was going to say that, she was black. Where's a copy of her birth certificate? It says she's Jamaican. Let's see. She's Jamaican. Father was Caucasian. I mean, I don't see anywhere on here where she states that she's a woman of color.
Well, and that's what's interesting. I've seen that birth certificate. That's what's interesting. Jamaica is not a race.
Right.
It is a nationality. It is a country you are from. I mean, just because, I'll give you an example. Elon Musk, he's from South Africa. By their logic, I mean, born in Johannesburg. So does that make Elon Musk an African American? And they can never answer that question. He's a white dude who was born in South Africa. So he was born on the African continent. By the liberal left standards, he is an African American.
Very true.
Does that make sense?
Nationality. She is Caucasian. Right. Island girl. And that's the thing. She's just pushing for the black votes. That's what she's going for. It's not because she cares about you. I'm going to tell you, this woman gets in office. We are going to, it is going to be, it is just going to be unimaginable. I'm telling you guys, this is some evil we've not come in contact with. And if we had, I must have been sound asleep and didn't know it. She was raised in Canada.
Yeah, she moved there when she was like 1 or 3 or something like that. Very early, like before kindergarten started.
Yeah, we showed those videos last night of her.
Okay, sorry. I won't
No, you're
rehash.
fine. At the rally, how she was just going on and on and on about, at one point she was wanting, they were screaming, lock them up. And I think it was you that were talking, or maybe you was in here tonight, but showed that you was like, yeah, Haley was in here, and we were showing it, and in the back you said the signs, they didn't go out, and then at one point when they did, people showed up there because of the singer that was there, and it was free. That's why they showed up. Okay? That's why they were showing up. Because when she started speaking, my understanding is 15 minutes in or 5 minutes in, people started leaving. It's been reported by multiple sources.
Yeah, once the free concert was over, they were gone.
No, I do not, Mag. If you can get it and put it in Telegram, I'll play it.
Yeah, and Island, I think it was a little. You are right. It was a little. It was more far removed from her grandmother. It was like the great grandparents in Jamaica actually
Right.
were slave owners. Not only were they slave owners, they actually shipped them over
Wow.
or were part of shipping them over. That's not misinformation.
Isn't it true that most of our presidents were all kin and they were all slave owners except for Trump?
Of the last 8, I think it's 8 presidents, might be 10. I'll go with 10.
Okay.
The last 10 presidents, the only descendant of a non-slave owner family is Donald Trump.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that. Well, this reporter went around asking a few people what they thought about Kamala and what policies has Kamala done.
Can you name a few of her accomplishments?
No, I can't.
What are some of her accomplishments?
I will say that everything that I've seen, I don't think that, no.
I honestly don't think she has any. The 4 years that she was in office as vice president, I didn't hear her speak once until like last week. So that's kind of my take on it.
That's the truth. She was out doing whatever. And now all of a sudden, they want to put her in front. It was like people voted at the time. They didn't even want her on the ticket with Biden. I still think that was something going on there, weird, and all of a sudden Biden is not going to run for election. Isn't that interesting? He's not going to run for election, but they're just going to pop her in there. And didn't even have a primary or anything for the Democrats. And you guys just going to lay back and be like, okay, we accept that. Republicans wouldn't do that. We actually feel bad for you because you're allowing it to happen. You talk about democracy all the time. And elections is the one place you do have a democracy. But they didn't give you a democracy by just throwing her ass in there and saying, this is who you're going to vote for, and this is who's on the ticket. Well, she still got to get approved by the DNC, but
absolutely.
In their eyes.
And if Island, I wasn't trying to dispute your facts. I don't deny that either, that it's documented and her grandmother was white. I don't dispute that. I'm saying what I was getting at was how they let's call them the Harris family, actually became slave owners. And So if that was Harris's grandmother, that would have put her around the turn of the century in the 1900s.
Right.
But there's a lot that predicated that too. And I was talking about the origin of that, but I don't deny that fact or dispute that fact either. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Do I need to pull his comment up? He's got one up there. Island Girl, that is documented in the grandma's white. All we heard from was her cackle like a hyena. They can't lecture the democracy. Isn't that true? That is so true. They didn't want her there. And let's be real. When is someone really going to start talking about policy? I know Trump's dying to. I know he's dying to. He wants to get this showboat on the road, be done, you know. When is policies, you know, he's going to wipe the floor with it. He's got to stay on point if they do debate. He's going to have to stay on point and not throw jabs at her. You know what I mean? Even though he's absolutely right to do so. You know what I'm saying? Do like he did. Keep some decor about it. And just stick to the facts.
Yeah.
Stick to the facts.
I agree, Country. And I think I do see, here's what I see. I think Trump got it off his chest between the last couple rallies, that interview yesterday and whatnot. He got it off his chest and he knew he was going to catch them. Go ahead.
You think so?
I think he got it off his chest and he kind of sowed that doubt. Like when he said like, well, I've always known her until as an Indian American, because that's what she said until she started calling herself black a few years ago. I think it's almost verbatim what he said.
Absolutely.
So I think he got it off his chest. And I do agree. I think the insults, they're not insults. It's actually true. I think he's like, look, I went into the fire pit yesterday and I said what I had to say. People can take it for what it's worth. The left mainstream media flipped out over it, as was to be expected. But
he knew it was.
Everybody on TikTok, TikTok is like normal voters. They're like, well, it didn't really offend me. He actually kind of told, we don't know. You know, I mean, they're like, we don't really know. I mean, he actually made a point. So I think we have gotten to the point now. Sooner or later, Kamala is going to have to answer for her policies. And and I think that Trump, Vance, the whole campaign are just kind of waiting.
They're letting it. Yeah, I think they're laying back and waiting and thinking, okay, we'll give enough rope. They'll hang themselves. They'll do it. Here is a good friend of mine, Paul. He's been on the podcast once, and he puts some things into perspective as to why they chose to keep Kamala. Makes some sense. I think it makes sense. Y'all hear it?
No. I couldn't hear it. I could see it.
I don't know what's wrong with your recording. Just fine. I'll get it. I don't know. Is this one working?
So, Kamala Hamas held her first major campaign rally last night in Atlanta, Georgia. And she pulled a play right out of Hillary Clinton's playbook. So y'all remember when Hillary ran against DJT, right? And DJT had a whole bunch of, patriotic, America-loving people on his team, like even for like entertainment purposes. It was all patriotic people and America-loving red, white, and blue bleeding Americans that would show up to his campaign and perform. On Hillary's side, it was Jay-Z and Beyonce and, those super rich that built up a career off of, hoeing and promoting single women and selling drugs in the black community, like those kind of artists is what Hillary had. And they're big, don't get me wrong, they are huge, because if you don't know anything about the music industry in America, the biggest artists in America are the ones that promote and sing about the destruction of our same communities. Like, take for example Quavo, who was one of the people that was at Kamala's concert last night, because that was not a rally. Quavo is one of them who built his entire career telling young black men how they came up off of selling drugs and robbing their peers in the black community. Now, just a little more info. Quavo is one of the members of the Migos. Like I said, they came up off of, telling us that they sell lots of cocaine and all the drugs. They talk about it. But in a stunning turn of events, allegedly, Quavo's now changed his life, because while they were gambling not too long ago, they got in a heated argument with somebody, and his nephew got popped due to that argument. And now the gangster drug dealer all of a sudden turns to a pro-gun activist. Anyway, let's fast forward to the next person. Meg the motherfucking Stallion. One of the hottest female rappers in the game. And fortunately, one of the most natural bodies. One of the most natural bodies. She was like seriously blessed with what she talked about in her song. Body crazy, pretty face, big titties, ass and titties. That's all she talk about. So yeah, you can call her a homemaker, because that's what she promotes. That's all she promotes. And last night's performance was just a reminder. Anyway, that was a free concert. A lot of people showed up. Thousands. You can say tens of thousands showed up for that concert. They performed. It was great. But then Kamala Harris came out and people just started getting up and leave. See, nobody's talking about that. And then, once again, she's over there culture vulturing, trying to talk about, I heard Donald Trump and J.D. Vance talking some shit, but if you want to say something, what do we say in the black culture? Say it to my face. Bitch, you ain't black. I'm telling you to your face. Your daddy is of Indian Jamaican descent, mostly Indian. And your meme is Indian. Now, not because your Pepe was born in Jamaica or his people was born in Jamaica, that don't make you black. He was Indian. That's his bloodline. You came out and said you are East or whatever Indian. You only mention you're black when it's beneficial for you. Only when you are trying to huddle up black voters. But fortunately, we ain't falling for that shit, because we stood by and watched you and Joe lead a full-on coup in these United States and a full-on invasion. And we ain't just gonna forget that shit because you've got some rappers up there shaking ass and titties. No, we ain't falling for that shit. But yeah, the entertainment part of that concert was great until you started talking, and we do what we do. We leave you hanging, just like you're gonna be left hanging at the polls when everyone show up and vote for Donald J. Trump this November. Bye, bitch.
That is one of my favorite videos that I felt today.
You know what? I mean, this might have worked in 2020, might have worked in 2016, but we're looking at two records. We're looking at Trump's record, and we're looking at Biden/Harris now record. I mean,
we're looking at it that way, though, Gravel. But you still have the Democrats out there, okay? And you still have undecideds out there. And I want to come to those people that are undecided. At the end of the day, you have the right to vote for whoever you want to. But you don't vote for feelings. That's the mess we're in here now. Vote for policy. Vote for what is good for America, what's good for your family, what changes can be made for America. You have kids. I implore you. I have children. Well, they're grown now, but I have grandchildren, and that is my main focus at this point. My grandkids and my future grandkids, great grandkids, and their kids. Things have to change, and you have to think it's not about who can bring a concert. It's a joke. They have made a mockery of the USA, period. The last almost 4 years. It has been nothing more than a joke to them. They pushed their plan into high speed because Hillary didn't win. So they pushed it in because they know their time is short. The only way Democrats can ever win anything is by cheating. And that's why the illegals are here. They're thinking that they can push them in there as legal votes. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. But go ahead, Grapple. I just had to say that.
No, all I was going to say was that there's like 4 ticket items they can run on, which is pretty much irrelevant. But this is what I'm just saying, you know, objectively speaking, this is what they're going to try and run on. J6, abortion, the fact that Kamala is a woman, and that the fact that Kamala is a whatever she is. I don't think anybody really cares anymore at this point.
I don't think she knows.
But a minority. That's it. Those are the 4 things they can run on. That's it.
Look at her track record. She's a freaking liar. Look at okay, let's watch her speak. Let's just watch her speak at this one.
Okay.
And so she called around, as the story goes, to business leaders across Houston and convinced them to donate more than $350,000, and those pools then stayed open all summer long. And as a leader who believed deeply that America's true and full history must be acknowledged and honored, it was Sheila Jackson Lee whose bill made Juneteenth a federal holiday, which as a United States Senator I was proud to co-sponsor, and then as Vice President, it was my honor, with the President, it was my honor with our President Joe Biden to stand beside Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee as our President signed her bill into law.
She thinks she's president already. This is what I'm going to tell you. Our leaders right now, the only thing that is keeping America safe, we have a great military, is that they do not, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. That's it. And I was talking last night. It's awful convenient that she passed away. Sheila Jackson passed away right after the attempted assassination on Donald Trump. She was involved with the Secret Service heavily.
I didn't see that whole speech that Kamala gave, but why is she laughing?
That's what she does.
I mean,
she was laughing at that point because she called herself president, and then she laughed about it, paused, and said, no, I was working with the president, because she called herself the president.
Yeah. Well, hell, Biden's called her the president before, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, something that's got me, I found that video. I'll have to,
I mean, I understand, like
I'm
when
gonna
when you give a eulogy, if you're going to give a eulogy about, say, your father or your sibling or whatever, I understand you're going to tell good memories and whatnot, but she's giving a eulogy about a congresswoman. Why? I don't like, what was she laughing about? Because I didn't find that very funny, to be honest.
Honestly, I think she was doing it because she does laugh at everything, Grandma. I think she was, at that point, she was doing it because she called president. But was she laughing before?
Yeah, she laughed a couple times.
And so she called around, as the story goes, to business leaders across Houston and convinced them to donate more than $350,000, and those pools then stayed open all summer long. And as a leader who believed deeply that America's true and full history must be acknowledged and honored, it was Sheila Jackson Lee whose bill made Juneteenth a federal holiday, which as a United States Senator I was proud to co-sponsor, and then as Vice President, it was my honor, with the President, it was my honor with our President Joe Biden to stand beside Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee as our President signed her bill into law.
She called herself the president, is what she did.
Freudian slip right there. I mean, I know what Freudian slip means. You know, that's normally a sex thing, but she slipped. Her tongue slipped on that one.
She did. I'm trying to
and you know what? When people laugh like that, when you actually look at body language and whatnot,
it's nervous.
She knew she messed up.
Yeah.
And that's why she started laughing. I'm glad you brought that video up, because that's what it was. She knew she messed up, and she covered it up with a laugh.
Right. That's what she does. She always will laugh it out. That's how you can tell with her when she lies. She lies so much when she laughs. She lies so much. Let me see if I can get this video to play, because it's a great video, and why he explains why they did what they did.
Going to be good for the BBB plan or the green energy plan. All the economists agree that in 2025 the market is going to crash. It's not because of Trump, it's because of where they've been putting all their money. And if they pull it out now, the market would crash now. All that would do is guarantee that they didn't win this election or the next. They can't have that. So if it happens on Trump's watch, for sure that means that the Democrats will win the House and the Senate. And when the next presidential election comes up, they'll win that too. They'll be in charge of all three branches of the government, and then they'll try to get a hold of those courts. You have to watch these people because they are slick and they're always looking for opportunity. I know Joe Biden just said he's dropping out of the race, and some are saying that he's going to back Kamala Harris. Well, why would he do that? Well, that's a good question, but I think I know the answer. If you just look at the investment pattern of the last 3.5 years of BlackRock, Vanguard, really every big player in the stock market, it's all about what Biden's little Build Back Better plan and green energy. Not to mention that everybody's invested in the Paris Climate Agreements. And certainly when Trump goes in office, he's going to start drilling oil. Is it going to be good for the BBB plan or the green energy plan? All the economists agree that in 2025, the market is going to crash. It's not because of Trump. It's because of where they've been putting all their money. And if they pull it out now, the market would crash now. All that would do is guarantee that they didn't win this election or the next. They can't have that. So if it happens on Trump's watch, for sure, that means that the Democrats will win the House and the Senate. And when the next presidential election comes up, they'll win that too. They'll be in charge of all three branches of the government, and then they'll try to get a hold of those courts.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to play that video, because he does make a lot of sense with that. And that might be true, but here is something that is bugging the shit out of me. Okay. Biden disappears. You guys look, here's a close up of his. Look at that. He's got a bruise right there on his jaw and it's swollen. Here's a better one. Look. He's got a bruise right there. Do you think somebody put a gun to him? And if you look at the pattern on this, it's an oval. It's an oval like the end of a gun looks. See, it's bruised. I mean, just saying.
There's this whole thing is shady.
Yeah.
When we review the last 4 to 5 weeks, the debate occurs on June 27th. That goes terrible for Biden.
Mm-hmm.
June 13th, Trump is nearly assassinated. I'm sorry, July 13th. July 19th, Biden drops out of the race. And July 20th, he was either that night or the next day, July 20th. Let me check my phone. So Monday, the Monday after Biden said, I'm not running again.
Right.
Kamala, I'm designating Kamala as, or whatever he said, which is in my mind totally illegal. Jill's taking, or not Jill. God, Jill probably is Jill, but
that's what Alan Girl said. She says, "Well, Jill hit him for stepping down."
Yeah, exactly. So then Kamala takes his place, and by Tuesday, and Coach, I said this on your live or on your show a few times ago. I'm like, wait a minute. So Biden steps down on Sunday, and Kamala who's the VP, which requires an advance team to get to wherever her first rally was. I think it was somewhere in Wisconsin or Michigan.
Right.
So inside of 48 hours, she's campaigning.
Very true.
This is like, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's ultimately the Democrat Party's problem to worry about, but it could become our problem if we don't get to the bottom of this quick, And personally, I feel this. There should be daily briefings to the Congress in front of the public and I'm going to focus on this point, on the Trump assassination attempt. Because
everything flips right at it.
Exactly. That right there is, okay, we're hearing information here. There's been a couple hearings, so on and so forth. But no, this needs to be, because what I don't want to see happen, I was thinking about this today. I don't want this to be a JFK thing, even though Trump, which I do think he's actually in danger, by the way, my own personal.
He is, because they've already come out. The whistleblower came out yesterday to Josh Hawley and said, look, within the next 30 days, there will be another attempt on Donald Trump's life.
Yeah. And I'm scared for the man, I'm scared for the country, but we need to have daily briefings every day. Mm-hmm. And you know what, in your live earlier, that James guy was up, it's James.
James is
talked to him before. Yeah. He's like, we need to do something. Well, yeah, but he's like, oh, Gravel, you were a pilot. You should go drop some bombs on that one dude, which you may or may not get into. But I'm like, dude, that's not how it works. Now, I'll tell you what I did do. We got together, especially in the northern part of the state. We got together, and it's kind of like we're not totally organized. I mean, we're working on getting organized. We did get Carrie Lake nominated in the primary, so she's going to run against Gallego. Then we all formed a letter to Gallego because he's a congressman currently, and he is this is the Kristen Sinema seat because she's not running again. So we organized a letter to Gallego because he's actually in Congress. Carrie Lake isn't. And we said, look, you need to figure this out. Otherwise, we are going to make sure you do not get elected. And by that, I mean by the vote. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
I know what you mean.
That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. We will do everything in our power to make sure Lake is in and you are not. Because you are a sitting member of Congress.
Right.
He is not. So they're both, so Gallego and Lake now are the two competitors for Sinema's seat in the Senate in Arizona. So we sent a
I think Carrie Lake would have done better as a senator anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you hear a guy like James, like, you got to get all tactical and all whatever he was talking about, I'm just like, no, you can't do that.
He likes to gaslight. He does. He likes to gaslight a lot of times, and you just kind of learn, hey, you can't do it. But what we were talking about last night when we went in depth with this attempted assassination on Trump, and I kind of broke it down and thought of it this way. It foiled their plan completely by him surviving. They didn't have nothing in place, no plan, because I'm telling you, they had 3 shooters. In my opinion, they had 3 shooters. Everything lines up, trajectory, and everything. And where other people were shot, and the kinetic energy that had went on, there was a kinetic element there. I showed the video to where it was the back of the bleachers where the first shot that went out. When that first shot went out, you would want the first shot. If you're really going to take someone out, you would take that out. Okay, but they needed things to work simultaneously for it to happen. So the first shot was meant for the snipers. They missed the snipers. The one sniper got down in a fetal position with no legs out. And the main sniper that was holding the tripod, he actually lifted the tripod up, sat it down to go reset. You can't do that. You have to scopes. You got the click. You know what I'm saying? It was 10 to 12 mile an hour wind gauge there. They had not gauged in. So that bullet went through there, hit the back of one set of bleachers. And I showed the video to where they all lifted their arm up like this at the same time. So they all felt it. When the bullet hit the air, it expanded. So they felt something that each one did it. And that's anomalies that are looked for. And then there's this guy in there. He's wearing all white. He's unaccounted for. He goes down, but no one's talked to him. And this particular guy, John Cullen, he said, I want to talk to every single person who's on that back. And I definitely want to talk to the guy who's all in white. He's disappeared. He's a mystery. Everybody thought it was Corey that got hit. That wasn't Corey that got hit. That wasn't Corey at all that got hit. So we have that mystery. Where's he at? Then you have a line of sight of where the one shot that killed Corey had to have come from the tree line. And then the kill shot had to have come from the top of the water tower. And all of this was going to have to be done simultaneously because you would want to take out what would be protecting the president. That was the first initial shot, but it didn't work. Then you had the Secret Service that was standing in that area, and they were trying to take them out, but that hit Corey. And then you had the guy on kill shot high up. This guy did the dimensions, did the everything. You have to go back and watch it. It makes so much sense. And from the trajectory that Crooks was on that roof, and the way Trump was standing, and the height that he was on. Because, you had the red walkway and then he steps up on the stage. Where he's standing there and the way he's looking at the graph, he's at a 90-degree point. So he would have had to have gotten hit by Crooks in the left. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I totally do. And, just, I don't know if it was 2 or 3, but I definitely have this feeling it was not just crooks. And that, again, a few shows ago when you played, it's like 1, 2, 3. Okay, that sounds like a semi, right?
Right.
Semi-auto. And then it goes 1, 2, 3. That's about a trigger pull. It may not be accurate, but like an accurate shot, but it's like just the timing of it. 1, 2, 3. And then it's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it doesn't make sense how that sound pattern changed that quickly. So it was either somebody else, could have been 3. I'm not denying that. Pardon me. Or even a third person. And then you hear the final one, and that is more than likely the one that came from the sniper that got crooks.
Well, I'm trying to load a couple of videos from last night. Maybe we could pull it while I'm loading them. Here's Kamala when she's saying she was Indian.
Okay, so what we're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like the thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
So we're both Indian, but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people we're related already, so this is perfect. It's basically true. And so were you raised eating South Indian food?
South Indian food.
So she says, I've seen this video. She says something in there. She goes, so you're running for president. So that only happened like a week. So Kamala said that within the last week and a half or so.
Right.
Because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's not like 2 or 3 years ago, before this became an issue. That was like last week when she said that. And that girl, she's actually a comedian. The girl that Kamala's talking to. It was like city council or it was some show. She's actually pretty funny, to be honest. I mean, as a comedian, I don't know where she politically lies. Who cares? But the way when I saw that video, look at the look at her body language. Look at the way she's looking at her. I'm like, this is so bizarre. Like, what is wrong with you, lady? And I'm talking about Kamala,
But that was from her, like Grandma said, that was from her own mouth.
Right. It was.
I mean, that was from her own mouth.
Well, you would think, because she said in that video, she goes, it represents one half of my family. And if she was so, again, I don't really care about the whole black thing or anything like that, but you would think she would say, well, that's one half of my family, and the other half of my family is of, black or whatever, But she didn't say that. She just said, that's one half of my family and left it at that.
Right.
Make sense?
It does, because I don't know if this is the right video or not. But one minute she's Indian, one minute she's black, and I know people are tired of us talking about it or don't think we should talk about it. I don't know. But this is very important. This should show you. Okay, she was trying to heed to the Indian votes at that time. Now she's trying to go with the black vote because she knows that so many are voting for Trump and going for Trump because they've lost the public's trust. I don't even know. They never had my trust. But here's one of those videos. I think this is the right one.
Is what happened to him? Why does he tumble down like this? And was he perfectly okay? Does he get up and brush himself off and go, wow, that was some moth? What's the story? Where are all these back row people? I want to talk to the people that were in the back row of these bleachers. And I want to hear what this flinch was all about. I want to go back to the flinch because the flinch to me is really the simplest evidence of this kinetic event. Although it's, it's basic, there's not much to it. What you're seeing here is, it's hard to say that this is not happening, right? I mean, you see everybody in this row is flinching at the same time. Now watch. I mean, come on. To me, this is evidence of a kinetic event. Something is happening in this row. The lady's thing goes, the white short guy falls down, everybody's doubling over, and it hits the rail all at the same time. What that means is that this shot is not coming from the roof of the glass building, and that gives us a second shooter. And that's what created all of the hullabaloo. So that's the tweet that gets to 6 million views. Everybody's looking at that and going, "Well."
You see what he's talking about?
Yeah, I do. I can offer a little more explanation if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is he mentions the kinetic events. First time I've actually heard. I mean, I'm familiar with kinetic events, but all right. So this isn't a supersonic bullet from an AR or anything like that. But typically, I don't know how to really explain it. But if you're, I have, in my past, when I was in the service, I have seen guys react because they're going to hear the sound before everybody else is, especially if they're the target, right? So if they don't know, or if they know that they're not the target, they know the sound's coming, they're not going to react. But this is where it gets real strange because, light travels faster than sound. So typically, and when I say light, I mean like the speed of light, like a bullet, compared to the sound. So you're going to hear, how would I say it? You're going to hear the shot, but the light, if you will, has already traveled. Does that make sense? Like the incident has already happened. So by the time, like let's take Donald Trump, right? So Trump felt it basically like when he grasped his ear, then you heard the sound because he felt it before the sound actually traveled through. It's like breaking the sound barrier. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. It makes sense. Absolutely.
So that explains the flinching.
Here's one other. I can't remember. I don't know how.
Take a look at what happened.
Okay. I'm playing it over and over again. That's one shot.
Yeah.
Playing the same shot over and over and over again. Trump is talking. And Trump is speaking, and you see puff. Is there a shot prior to that? One more time.
See something that said, take a look at what happened.
So the question is that the first shot?
To my uninitiated,
hitting the rail.
Yeah, to my uninitiated mind with ballistics and shooting, I would say you should be able to see the puff before you hear it, but I also don't know, is it coming from behind? It might be that the sound wave's hitting you. It depends how close it is. Is the shooter 5 miles away or 50 feet from you? Then it starts to, for all intents and purposes, seem like it's happening in simultaneity. I don't hear anything before. I hear almost.
That's a great asterisk. Okay, now hang on. This is an important asterisk. Let me explain to the audience if they didn't quite catch what you just said.
Okay.
I'm testing my understanding. All right, so this is me mirroring back to you what I think I hear you saying. It seems anomalous that we would hear the bang and see the puff of smoke at the same time from a camera set up at this distance. A camera set up at this distance, we would expect to see the puff of smoke and hear the bang maybe a quarter of a second later, half a second later, because this camera is not as close as this. This is zoomed in from, the moon here. And so I believe what you're suggesting is this is maybe a bit anomalous. This might take an asterisk because I'm seeing the puff of smoke and hearing the boom at the exact same time. That's a little odd.
So
am I right? Is that what you're suggesting, or
yeah?
so
There's like
there's
like a hyper realistic shooting game, audio wise, called Ground Branch. Oddly enough, the CIA branch, but it's I love it because like if there's like a pile of gravel nearby and you shoot it with a silencer, it's simultaneous. You hear like it poof, you see it poof, and you hear it poof. If you go walk like 100 meters and go shoot the side of a building, you know whatever the travel time of the bullet is. And then it's calculated just perfectly. You hear the delay. So it depends if someone's right next to the railing, or let's say the camera is right there. Sure, you would now if you slowed it down to like a trillion frames, of course it's going to be different. But for all intents and purposes, if I go bang, you're going to hear bang, see poof. But if you're seeing poof the same time, I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't know anything about ballistics. I guess it's possible. But if the bullets,
it's anomalous.
Let's say the bullet's coming from behind the camera. Maybe you would say it syncs up. I don't know. I don't know enough about ballistics. I don't know anything.
I don't know enough about them either. I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and I don't think we're getting the answers from the committee. They already knew the questions that were going to be asked, and I think that's what the very first why they didn't answer anything, so they could get those questions, and that would be what they would answer after she stepped down and the new one jumps into place. But it is being said that this new head of Secret Service actually stopped extra security that day. That's what's being said.
Yeah, like I said, country, we need answers. And what that host was asking in that podcast was basically kind of what I was trying to explain. He actually asked the question, and the other guy kind of explained
the sound. I know what you're saying. It's like you won't hear the sound before the hit. You'll feel it, and then the sound barrier is broken.
Correct. Yep, that's correct. And
at that point,
there's tons of videos. There's tons of videos. I could show you where. Like let's say you are flying an A-10, right? You're called in for an airstrike. And it actually gives the guys on the ground, Marine Corps, Army, Special Forces, whatever, it gives a perspective. So you see the tree line where the target was. You see the tree line just go up in flames, basically. And then you hear the gun. It is the most accurate depiction of that light versus sound that I could describe. So you see if you imagine like you're focusing your camera on a tree line, right? You're going to see like a tree line light up, and then you're going to hear the brrr, but the tree line's already lit up, and then you see the A-10. It just
that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
I do. I see exactly what you're saying. Here is a video of, this is a recent video of illegals verifying that they've already registered to vote in Georgia.
We come from a company that is dedicated to registering Hispanic people so they can vote in upcoming elections. Are you already registered? We already voted. You already voted? Yes. Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered or?
Yeah.
Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered at work? Yes, we have. You've already been registered? Are you a citizen or not a citizen?
No es.
The apartment complex Elliott Norcross in Norcross, Georgia, is occupied primarily by non-citizens. We visited the complex to ask residents 2 questions. Are you a citizen, and are you registered to vote? Shockingly, 14% of respondents admitted to being non-citizens registered to vote.
Buenas, disculpe por molestar. Venimos con una organización que se dedica a registrar a la gente hispana para poder votar en las elecciones. ¿Ya la registraron a usted o?
Ya.
¿Ya? ¿Y fue en el trabajo o vino alguien a tocar? Ah, ok. Muchas gracias. Y oiga, ¿y usted es ciudadana o...? No. ¿Ya la registraron en el trabajo o en un lado?
Bueno, sí, nos dijeron, pero...
¿Ya se registró?
Pues yo creo que sí.
¿En el trabajo?
Ajá, sí.
Oh, ok. ¿Usted es ciudadana o no es ciudadana? No es. ¿Ya los han registrado en el trabajo ustedes?
Sí, ya.
Ah, ¿ya los registraron? Ya. Disculpe, es que no la oigo muy bien por el aire. ¿Ya los registraron?
Sí, ya.
¿Y usted es ciudadana o no es ciudadana?
No.
¿No es?
No.
Venimos con una compañía que se dedica a registrar a la gente hispana para poder votar en las elecciones. ¿Ustedes están registrados?
Nosotros ya votamos,
¿Ya votó?
Sí.
¿Usted es ciudadana o...?
No.
¿Y usted ya está registrado? ¿Se registró en el trabajo o algo así?
No.
So they are saying that they are, and I think that's where the apartments they built, specifically for illegals to move in. And we're going to make more or build more.
That was Georgia, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Georgia. And this is the voting that took place.
Wait.
So the people that were in front of me, there were two people in front of me that used a Sharpie.
Yes.
That was given to them by the poll workers.
Yes.
It did not read their ballot.
Okay.
And they slid it in there twice. I used a pen.
Yep.
Took their Sharpie and threw it away.
And it read your ballot.
And it read my ballot.
And it read your ballot.
And it read my
So
ballot.
what they're doing is they're telling people to use the Sharpies. That way,
Yes.
those votes aren't counted.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening. So there was other people that were in there voting with their pens, and they literally went around and they were yanking pens out of their hands.
Yes, they tried to do that to me, and I took their Sharpie and I hid it because then they said, look for all the Sharpies that are not being used and take the Sharpies back. They had a bowl of pens behind them that they were not giving to people and only giving Sharpies out.
There we go. So the ones with the Sharpies are not being read at all.
No.
No. None of those ballots are being read.
Of course not.
So that's again, and so they're doing it because they're trying to skew all of the votes in
Yeah,
there.
and they
That's
didn't,
exactly
and they
what's
didn't
going
try
on.
to even slide it more than one time. They immediately took it and slid it in the front, like not even tried a second time. They just
That's correct.
ran it through and slid it in the front, and I was like, wait a
That's what they did with yours?
Yep, and I just went with the Sharpie, voted Trump, and she just slid it in, and that was it.
But they're not counting. They're not counting the ones with the Sharpies. And so they're forcing people to use the Sharpies, and those votes aren't being counted.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Right. And then I posted it on my Facebook group chat in my neighborhood. They said they did it at the Queen Creek Library. They did it at ASU Polytech earlier. That like 4 different polling places were doing Sharpies all in like between Queen Creek and like the edge of Gilbert.
Yep. And those ones are not being counted.
Yeah.
They're invalid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
like, I approve.
So they're invalidating votes is what they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
That's how
I
it feels
took a picture
like.
of
Okay.
my ballot for
And then
Trump.
there was a guy that directly came out and yelled at me 3 times. They both came out.
Oh, no, they called it.
So if you use a Sharpie, it won't count your vote. So if they try to give you a Sharpie, you tell them to shove it. And I know that for a fact you have to use a pen for it to count. Here, I believe here's no.
Use a black ballpoint pen.
These are the votes you can toss and we'll never even know it. That's why you're doing
The
it.
point is that the Sharpies don't, I mean, they did matter for a long time. For like a long time we had to say no to Sharpies because the bleed through would impact the vote. But you just... The bleed through would impact the vote.
There it is. Simple as that.
For the people in the back.
Thank you for that information.
And you just said that you just said that it doesn't say that, but it does. You know what, you should talk to our PIO.
I did. I spoke to Erica too. So you can't answer the question. I think I'd rather talk to your lawyers. That's who I'd rather talk to at this point. So you can't answer the questions you said you would answer?
I need the names of the people. I didn't get an email address, ma'am. I need an email.
Answer the questions you said you would answer, ma'am. Lawyers' names.
Who do I gotta talk to, Ben?
So there you have it. She just stop pushing that, babe. Babe, stop pushing that, please. They just said.
She just said the Sharpie will impact the vote.
Boom.
Boom. Right from the county recorder.
Right on live in front of thousands of people.
The snake's mouth.
So if they try to give you Sharpies, you do not accept them. Good piece of
they're gonna try and throw it. They're gonna try and
now
throw
here,
it.
watch this.
And if you don't, and if you think that maybe that's, if you think that maybe that's just a, a mistake or just a coincidence, here's the next one that shows, you can see Republican is written there, Republicans written there. This is ballot 61. This is ballot number 2. And then each one of them even has this little dot in the Fannie Willis.
Okay, and do you have more of those?
We have the entire batch. There's 62 images in here total, and I didn't even get a chance to go through all of them. But these are the most obvious ones where it's clear that it's the same. This one's got the little tail on the side.
And so what happened? So do you know the numbers of these total batches? Like,
I don't remember what the totals were when the batches. I don't think they weren't disparate. They were fairly close. But the simple fact that they
so
occurred.
if you see that little bubble right there, this is one image. Here's another image.
Exactly
See,
the same.
exact same. And the batch number, was it 5162?
Well, so scanner 5162.
Okay, scanner.
Batch number 235, image number 92, matches the same scanner 5162, batch 234, image 33.
So there you have it. Duplicate ballots. The entire batch is scanned several times.
It sickens me to know they do it. Here's a video, I think.
Was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules?
I just hate it when people sit there and tell me that 2020 election wasn't stolen. You just can't find the right courts that will be willing to take the case up. The evidence is there. It's so much evidence. So if you guys, let's learn by what we went through in 2020. No Sharpies. And we're not going to stand for there to be a water leak and stop counting. We're going all the way through. Poll watchers, do your fucking job the way you're supposed to do it. You signed up for it. People, you see something, you call the police. You call the sheriff. You call the sheriff of your town, and you get the sheriff on site. You have a right to watch this. They start trying to tape up doors and windows, you call your state representatives. Do not stand for it this time. Don't get violent, but call the authorities. Get them there. Call the state legislator, secretaries, whatever you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, everybody's saying this is the election of our lifetime, and I agree with that.
Yes.
But we got to realize something. Whether you like Trump or not, I think all we want is a free and fair election, right? So if you want to vote for Harris, then vote for Harris. I don't think anybody really cares. But don't try and take this or cheat us out of it, because I'm telling you, the mainstream media might be saying one thing, oh, Kamala is this great person, and, you know, we're going to try and basically cover up her past and cover up her record and all this other stuff. But they are desperate. They are desperate right now.
No, you can't put your foot on their ass to do something wrong. Do it the right way. Heels up, Harris. Do it the right way.
Yeah, and Devil Dog, you know, we all want to do that, but it's very J6 like. You know, they want to set us up and say we're trying to overthrow democracy and overthrow the government and all that. And that's where we got to be calm, cool. And I'm not saying you're not, Devil Dog, but I'm just saying in general, that's where we got to maintain a level head, keep an eye on everything. I think we know their tricks. I think we do. Begin writing your congressmen, your local, not just your federal ones, but your state congressmen, your state senators, your county supervisors, your local election boards. I mean, anything you can do, write it, get it certified in email or certified in mail. Sorry.
The opposite of a threat.
Yeah. And you know, go from there. I mean, just be wary of a setup, you know, and that's what happened with J6. I'm telling you right now, that's what happened with J6. And
see, I don't think they're going to go for more so the ballots this time because they know we're watching. You know what I mean? They know we're watching that aspect. I think what they're going to, if they still try, they'll try anything. But I think what they're going to try to do is illegal voting. That is what. So honestly, I believe that's where they're putting all their ducks in. I mean, they're still going to try the other. They might do absentee ballots. I don't know with illegal votings. Since they said, "Oh, we've already voted." I'm sure there's a lot going down, but I'm just praying that I know my Heavenly Father. I know He can intervene, and I know He will. I do believe that because so many of us are praying to Him. And we know what's at stake. But this is what Trump had to say about Kamala.
The opposite of a threat to democracy. They're a threat to democracy. I mean, look at what they just did. They just took over the presidency from a This was a coup. Biden is a very angry man right now. You know that. They took the presidency away. His wife didn't want it to happen. They took the presidency away like he was a child.
Who's making the decisions right now in the White House, do you think?
A group of people that are fascists, communists, Marxists. They circle the beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office, like in the Justice Department. I mean, I always felt that Merrick Garland, I had respect for him. You know, there were some people that thought I should appoint him. I really gave it serious thought.
He had a good record.
But in the end, no, he did. I had a lot of respect for him. I'm so surprised that he's doing it.
But you're saying Biden isn't making any of the big decisions.
I don't think so, no. I don't think he knows he's alive.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
These are unelected staffers who are making decisions for this country. And when I say unelected staffers, I'm talking about like the cabinet level members, because remember, cabinet level members are not elected.
Right. And that's just a collective of them. They come up with an idea. Well, I'll go run it by so-and-so. That person does it. And then they all just get in there. It's a government going rogue is what it is. It's going completely rogue. It's off the rails. And truthfully, I believe they're going to try to start a war before the election.
I mean, look at how just, you know, everyone take a deep breath, take a step back, and look at what's happening right now. So we got a sitting president who goes out and makes a speech today or whenever he did about this hostage thing. Then we got the vice president out there running for president. And it's obvious that Joe is not mentally there. No. So it's like, I mean, Trump has like, who is in charge here?
That's the thing.
I mean, think about it like that. You got a president who's basically deemed incompetent, and you got a vice president out there who's out there campaigning. So who's in charge?
And she hasn't even been elected. She hasn't even been nominated yet, as far as legally by the DNC.
Yeah, you're right. She's not even the official nominee yet. You just have some basically lady, no offense, ladies, but you got some lady running out there saying like, hey, I'm going to do this concert in Atlanta. I'm going to go out there and speak for 6 minutes. And, I'm black and I'm a woman. Vote for me.
That's her running. That is her premise right there. That's it. That's all she's got. And it's, well, illegals, they're not criminals. An illegal immigrant is not a criminal. An illegal immigrant is not a criminal.
It's a complete.
What is burden be unburdened?
What is happening?
What is burden be
unburdened? And now the whole everything in the Middle East, that's probably about to break loose, and we're going to.
That's why I was saying. Well, see, they couldn't. Okay, I said this last night. I believe they were going to blame the attempted assassination on Iran. I say that, and they was going to kickstart a war. I say that because it was going to be a huge 9/11, but for 2024. And it would have kickstart, because there were thousands and thousands. There was so much more people there than what was in the World Trade Centers. So I believe this would have been on a catastrophic, just mass casualties. Because they had explosives, everything. They had it all set. Well, it got foiled, the whole thing. So by that happening, they couldn't blame it on Iran. You know what I'm saying? Because they had just put out previously that they had to up security 1 week before on Trump, because Iran had said they were going to assassinate Trump. They laid the plans in place to make the story go in the direction it was going. I believe they were going to blame it on that, kickstart a war, and there went the election. I believe that was what we're going to do. I believe it's exactly the plan. And they took Biden out. This is my opinion. They took Biden out because they were going to leave him in till the very end. Okay? Because it makes no sense to pull him out right now. So with the attempted assassination being foiled, they had to take him out because he has sit in. He does know things. He's heard things. He's talked about things. And he probably already had a speech ready to go for thereafter, because they have to prep this man after the assassination. They had to do things a certain way. Biden would mumble the truth, and us truth seekers would have caught on to that shit quick. He's a liability now. They had to take him out of the race. He's a liability now. And if they remove him and say, okay, well, he's not going to run, and they say, okay, Kamala's going to run, that's why it's so fast and hesitant. One of the pieces, and what Adam Paul had said about the financial system in the stocks and the stock market, they had to take him out because he rumbles. He just rambles sometimes. But there are those moments when he's coherent for just a moment, and he speaks straight up, and then all of a sudden it goes back. I think that they were afraid he would slip up with some shit, so they've had to yank him out that quick, because nobody ever in a election season with the head running person and the election the way it was, it would have been election suicide, career suicide, to do what they just did. So now they're putting Kamala up because that's all they got. They can't. It's too late in the game, Michelle Obama. It's too late in the game for really anybody. So they put her up. I believe he's a liability. They took the liability out of the situation, and he pops up every now and then. But they got the coup, against Trump, and now it's against Biden. So now you got two presidents. You got President Trump. You got President Biden. They tried to kill Trump and Biden. I believe they were going to take them both out in the same week. But they still went on with their plan with Biden. Trump. That's a problem for them. That's a huge
Yeah,
problem. for them.
exactly, Island, and I agree with you. I mean, I think they tried the lawfare with Trump. They tried to kill him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You could look at that
Yes.
part, but when you look at Biden, because it's kind of an internal party thing,
Mhm.
this is as close to a coup that they're calling it a palace coup, because it's their own party, their own palace. This is as close to a coup, if it's not a full out coup, that this country's probably ever seen. And I still, we have to keep in mind, Kamala Harris is not the official Democrat nominee. And there is something coming on out there. I want to get my more facts together. I've been researching deadlines, whether Kamala can even make the ballot, the general ballot, because their convention is not for another basically 2.5 weeks as of now. Because as of now, Biden is the only, Biden and Trump and any independent or Green Party or Libertarian who makes it, they're the only ones on the ballot. Kamala is not on the ballot. So
No, and the state's not going to put her on the ballot.
That's what I was just about to say, because I can't remember which live I was on or if it was in this show country. Somebody said, how come the Republican Party doesn't suit? And I'm like, this has nothing to do with the Republican Party. This has everything to do with the states, because the states are going to say, she's not legally on the ballot. We're not putting her on the ballot because you missed XYZ deadline.
And they have missed that deadline. They can't go back and change it. So any votes that are voted for Biden will not count.
I guess
this could be honestly a slam dunk for Trump. Slam fucking dunk for Trump.
Yep.
But don't get complacent, people. They're going to pull it, and they know this. So what do they have left to do in order to try to win this?
Stop the election, declare martial law, declare war, or a combination of all three. That's pretty much.
And I believe they would have already had us in a war. That's why they put that into play with you don't have to sign up anymore. We automatically do that. Think about it. Everything was laid out. They laid their plan out perfectly. They had already laid out months before, 2 or 3 months before, that they didn't want former presidents or anyone to have Secret Service. You see, they had it all laid out. That got foiled. They thought it would work. You see what I'm saying? Someone had this deranged idea. Okay, we'll take Secret Service away. And that didn't work. Then they turned around and just kept going down the list. Kept going. Put Iran attempted a assassination on Trump. They put him to court 4 different times. Indictments. They've lied. They've the document stuff. Now the new is Chuck Schumer wants to undo what the Supreme Court has already ruled on. It's called the King Act? The No King Act?
Stop the King Act or something like that. Yeah.
So now he wants to stop the King Act. That's his next thing.
Well, and here's the other thing too. And to all you beautiful Americans, keep this in the back of your mind. So I'm sure everybody's tracking on, this Hamas dude who was killed in Tehran.
You better pay attention to that.
Tehran, Iran, with a bomb that was in his guest house or whatever. But now,
let's see if I can find it.
And this actually kind of goes to what Island Girl was saying. They will have a scare event. So now, we can't put this in reverse, because now we got all these illegal immigrants here. We lost some of them, or a lot of them. We don't know who they are. So now what's going to happen? And I'm not trying to be like pessimistic, and I don't want to freak people out, but if there are in fact cells here, and Iran gets pissed, it really just takes a phone call, because the jihadis and whatnot, they're willing to go for their cause, and that's what we got to be careful of. That's what we got to be cautious of.
Tell me something.
And the Scaravan Island girl that you were referring to, that deals, and it's kind of contrary to what you were saying, was about like a by design thing.
Well, who was the Venezuelan ex-president? His last name started with an M or something, didn't it?
Maduro.
Okay. Well, Maduro is not the president. Breaking news. The U.S. declares Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia, I can't say the name right, as the winner of the Venezuelan presidential election. Given the overwhelming evidence, it is clear to the United States, and most importantly, to the Venezuelan people, that Edmundo Gonzalez won the most votes. That's not the one that was up there, is it?
Okay, sorry. All right, when you said M, I was thinking Maduro. Keep going with your letter, but he actually won. But Maduro just said, your votes don't count. I'm still the president. But that's the
So he's not going to allow him. He's not going to allow him to do that. Okay.
Correct. That's the context.
Well, also, we have breaking news of a former Louisiana mayor who abruptly resigned last week from her role as being charged with rape of a juvenile while in office. Misty Roberts Clanton, former mayor of DeRidder, announced her resignation last week. She's being charged today for accusations of sex with a minor. I was trying to find this one that was telling about what they were. Israel's under fire right now. There's some of the video footage of it. I'm gonna play. There. But they're under fire right now. But now they say that Biden administration is convinced that Iran is going to attack Israel in retaliation for the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran earlier this week, and it's preparing to counter it. So, guys, their plan is in full swing. And that's what they're going to try to do. You know that cells here for years and years. Oh, yeah, there's been cells here for years and years. No, Schumer can't do that. It would take years to do amendments. And that's the problem we're in now. Stop doing amendments to the Constitution. We good.
Yeah, we haven't had an amendment to the Constitution in decades. I think the last one was the 25th or 26th, I believe. 26th. Don't quote me on that. 25th or 26th. I know it's one of the two. 25th was the one that got the president out, and that was in the 60s.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They shouldn't be allowed to go mess with our Constitution just to suit their narratives. And our Supreme Court is there for a reason, for situations like this, and now they want to try to overthrow the Supreme Court.
That's basically what they're trying to do. They're not coming. They're saying the quiet part out loud. Well, we don't like what you ruled, therefore we're just going to try and change it. I mean, these people are nuts. They're nuts. It's very dangerous, to be honest.
It's going crazy. And what the hell are we doing in Venezuela and other countries' elections? We have no business being in their fucking elections.
Well, I'll say this real quick. The thing with Venezuela was that, like Iran, Biden had lifted a bunch of sanctions on them, where they should have kept changing them, because they knew. I understand what you're saying, country, but they knew it was not. It was an.
No, I understand. They know that it was stolen. In cases like that, where for a fact evidence, because evidence was coming out way before it. That's one thing. But there's a lot of election interference going on in other people's elections from the United States to where before the election even takes place. That's what I'm saying. But this was a clear-cut election we saw. They were taking pictures of showing you the counts and everything, and it was just like a boom. Hey, I mean, come on, you guys, dictatorships. When I hear Kamala speaking, all I hear is a dictator. That is what I hear. I hear it constantly. Do you hear her? Think about it. Next time, Democrat, whatever, listen to her. Do you at any point hear her speak and say, the American people, the Americans? No, it's all about illegal immigrants. It's all about what she can do for the illegal immigrants, period. It's not
about race. It's about race, green new energy, how unfairly, everybody's been treated, so on and so
weird.
forth. Hate Trump. You're right. She doesn't say anything about how great this country is, how we can come together and we can unite. It's just more divisiveness, and they can say that all they want about Trump, but it's the Democrats that are actually doing it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's unreal.
It is. It's just crazy. Well, Grandpa, it's almost 11. I got to get my beauty sleep. I got to get up in a few hours.
I got you, girl. Thanks for having me up tonight.
Oh, Gravel, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. I get to catch up on everything at the end of the night and during the day, I try to catch here and there, a little bit of stuff. Everybody good about sending me stuff. People.
Hey, don't worry about it. It changes like every 5 minutes. So
I'm seeing that Harris will be a Latina next week. You know what? We'll give them enough rope hanging themselves. But when you do early voting, just make sure they don't try to give you Sharpies. Keep your eyes and ears open, but go vote. Make sure you vote. Your vote counts.
Yeah, and hey, country, if I see a TikTok video that I actually believe, or a news article that's valid, I'll keep sending them your way just to keep you up to speed. But don't worry, we're all trying to keep up right now because this news cycle is changing like every 10 minutes.
I try to keep up, but working all day long, and then on my breaks, I'm trying to play catch up, and I'll get interested in something, and I'm like, oh shit, and I'm trying to do everything. So, but I have to work to make that paycheck.
I got you. Well, great show as always, and thank you. Comments panel. Thanks, guys. If anybody's going live, shoot me an invite. I'm going to be up for a little bit. So, country is always a great show. Thank you for having me up. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Grandma. I appreciate you. Devil Dog. Everybody. I'm vote Felon 2024. Order your hat. That way when you go vote, wear your hat and go vote.
I think it's time to fight back. No, they won't like that. Everywhere is somewhere, and that's where the fight's at. I think it's time to fight back. No, they won't like
DA Customs. www.dacustoms.com. You can also reach them at 781-389-8179. And if you order now, use code at checkout. Free shipping 40 at dacustoms.com. And it's free shipping on your order. And check out a couple of new shirts that's added. with that, everyone, have a good night. Have a blessed Friday. It's Friday, so I get to stay up late tomorrow night. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. See you right here, but I'll see you over on TikTok if my account's still up. Y'all have a blessed night. And as always, thanks, Gravel. Country Crazy.